Welcome, everyone. This is the Your Little Castle Show. You know, we're always looking for the experts in the building that can really help us to catch on to the latest technologies that are out there. I mean, it's a matter of there are so often so many things that just don't catch up. I mean, there's so often we have people that they're doing it the old-fashioned way, which is good. You want to do things that you prove that work. But so often the technology is just so advanced.
Yes, it is.
And if you keep up with that, you're doing a great job. So give a warm welcome here, everybody, to Josh Hudson. He is the owner of JH Exteriors, and we've got your information here all ready for everybody to see. But I tell you, it's really exciting for me to have so many people that really get into the technology side of the world, because I tell you what, there's so much that people don't understand with regard to technology, and then how it impacts your business. So I just noticed that you had taken quite a bit to be on the ball, if you will, with the technology side of the world, and we're going to really get into that, because that's what sets you apart a lot of times, if you can keep up with the technology. So with that, hey everybody, welcome. This is the Your Little Castle Show. We are live in our studio here. I'm going to share a little bit of our information about our sponsors. We've had some great sponsors for a long time now. And, you know, when you get good sponsors, that's important too, because so often it's hard to get a business going unless you get some support from people in the community. So with that, there we go. And there's our little shortcuts to get that up there. But Carroll House, because you like nice things in your little castle. And then give it up for USA Mortgage. They've been helping us for a long time, and we really appreciate what they do to help us make this show happen. So with that, I'm going to go right back to putting up Josh's websites. He's got a bunch of pages up here for us that we're going to talk about, because he gets into the technology side of this to a large extent, and that's, like I said, very encouraging for most people who don't understand the advantages of such technology. Josh, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Well, we are always looking for those who stand out, and you're doing good. Tell me, why did you decide to get into the exteriors business? People with their roof siding, everything that gets covered there. Tell me about that.
Opportunity. I always knew that I wanted to be a business owner sooner or later. I took the long road to get where I'm at. Went through the Carpenters Union, got my journeyman's card. Long story short, my father was an entrepreneur of sorts, kind of followed in his footsteps. He always told me, son, all you got to do is put your hand out like this. And if you do the right thing for the right reasons, you'll get paid. So I kind of followed that motto, doing the right thing for the right reason, even when no one was looking. Coming into the exteriors part of it versus a deck contractor or an interior contractor, I just kind of went with what direction was supposed to go. I didn't choose it, it chose me.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, when you get into something that you have a passion for, you start off as an expert carpenter. I mean, now you've got a little bit of some expert training to help you get into this. Tell me a little bit more about that path. I mean, Dad didn't necessarily lay it out there for you, but gave you a little bit of a push, give you a little access.
He was the more hands-on teacher. He says, there it is, son, you ain't gonna learn no younger. Did he know how to do everything that he was teaching me? No. But he taught me how to think my way through it and think 10 steps ahead of myself so I could figure it out, and be more of a problem solver than somebody putting out fires all the time.
Well, that's good to have that kind of guidance, because when you end up with people who have that kind of expertise, at least you get you started, at least point you in the right direction. That helps. Right. But you went out there and just went after it yourself and made it happen on your own. Yeah. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
that is the
story. I mean, that is the path road to get here.
Path of it many of us have to take. Tell me though, when you were young, what was a personal hobby that kind of led to this, that you can help me understand?
Well, going back to when I was a little kid, I would go to job sites with my dad, and I remember picking up stair blocks, the cutouts from the stair treads, and I would build these little erections of houses and buildings and stuff just out of scrap lumber. And later on, my dad would take it all away from me and put it in a fire.
But you got to work with it while you had it.
Right, it was fun, and I like to build things. I like putting things together with my hands and figuring out. I'm more of a thinker more than anything else. Sometimes overanalyze things too much, but it's a good, because then I can try to be more the advocate for the homeowners, give them more information than what you possibly need in order to make that informed decision.
Okay, that explains the background with the technology and all of what we're going to get into and share with people what you help your clients with, and you kind of give them a leg up. Pretty exciting stuff. How long have you actually been in the business, and how long have you started your business? Your business 2005?
2005, September 2005, whenever I opened up my business. I've been in the insurance restoration industry since 2012 beginning.
Okay.
But construction, pretty much my whole life. My father was in that. He was more of an entrepreneur. I wouldn't say he was in construction. He would buy and flip houses, build log homes, do anything. Wherever there was to make a dollar, that's what he did.
And it always seemed to be surrounding construction.
Correct, yes.
Cool. All right. What do you about? Excuse me. With regard to what you do, what is your passion towards this? I mean, is this something that gets you up every day that you love doing? Tell me why you enjoy this.
In 2007, I think it was, I had personally had a house fire. Pretty extensive damage, and I don't want to say the insurance carrier's name because I don't want to talk ill will about anything.
Right.
But they ended up getting me for almost $45,000. That's how much money I had to put back into my own claim from my own personal money. And this is around the housing crisis in 2008. So you can imagine the strain and burden that put on me and my family back then. So ever since then, I vowed that I would never allow that to happen with another homeowner that worked with me.
Wow, so personal experience there to kind of help people understand a little bit where that comes from. It's interesting. Yeah, we all have develop our own passion. A lot of people know my story with regard to surviving a coma caused by a drunk driver. I just feel like we all have certain abilities that we just don't tap into. So often people give up on life or their dreams because of the first hurdle that they run into. And boy, is life all about overcoming hurdles and adversity? How many hurdles do you think you've overcome to get where you're at now?
Oh my God. Going the long route of becoming a business owner versus going to college, borrowing money from mommy and dad or a bank,
right.
You learn a lot of different aspects and a lot of different key points about being a business owner. When they say blood, sweat, and tears, they really mean it.
Yeah. Well, that's what they use the term blood, sweat, and tears for a reason, because there's all three of those involved in any kind of business that you have a passion for. And I can only imagine when you're out there physically doing the work and getting in front of clients and saying, hey, this is how we're going to make this right. How often do you have somebody who's in a bad situation and you had to say, we're going to make this right, we're going to get this through and help them deal with the insurance company and all of what goes on with that? Tell me about that.
Back up a little story on that part of it. 2011, I guess it was. I had a shoulder surgery twice within 5 weeks, rotator cuff, and then once on my bicep. So I had to make that decision of either go to work for somebody else and possibly continue my career in construction, which would be next to impossible with my shoulders, or should I start being smart and be a business owner and not necessarily a worker anymore. By doing that, I learned that, I was pretty smart that I could actually do all the stuff, the paperwork end of it all. But each homeowner I come across, when it comes to their insurance carriers, it's a battle. Each time it's a battle. I don't think anybody realizes how difficult it is to work with the insurance carriers. It's a whole new trade all in itself, not just doing roofing or siding. You have to have a different skill set in order to deal with those people.
Yeah, I can understand. I mean, the insurance guys, they are in business also, and they're trying to do the best they can for their company. You don't keep your job too long if you're not making a profit for the company, but it's a matter of getting involved and being kind of the arbitrator, somebody in between it. How often do people try to take that on their own? Say, I'll handle the insurance company, and they don't even understand what they're taking on there.
The best analogy I could give is: would you go to court on your own if you was accused of murder? Would you go and represent yourself? No, you wouldn't.
Right.
So I'm not an attorney. I'm not an adjuster. I'm just going to put that disclaimer out there. What I do is I build a proper estimate with details, line items, and that's how I use to battle the carriers. They'll use their own program called Xactimate. I use my own estimate templates that I built through AccuLynx, our CRM program. And what that does is we build a scope properly, which builds the price, and which builds everything else out.
Okay, yeah, so then you've got really some hard numbers to go after, so you can say, here's what this is really going to cost. Let's compare this to what the insurance company's telling us, and then we can make sure all the numbers jive, because how often is you just get one side of the numbers, and you're going, nothing to compare that against. and you say, hey, wait a minute, I don't know if it should be 30,000 or 50,000.
Right.
And you've got your program. We're going to show everybody a little bit AccuLynx that really helps you go through that a little bit too.
Yeah. The difference between three different categories, I guess you'd say. You got insurance contracting, you got bid contracting, then you have an adjuster. A lot of times these adjusters, they do have a background in construction or roofing or siding, whatever. But the majority of the time, that's not the case. So you take somebody with my experience and my knowledge, and you put me into that world, who's going to estimate better? It's not necessarily who's better at it, it's just who has the more experience and knowledge at it to do the job properly. An adjuster has some book knowledge that doesn't necessarily know how the components are put together or a method of repair, versus a contractor that's been doing it every day for umpteen years. Who would you rather trust?
Sure. Yeah. As a matter of experience, and somebody's out there actually physically in the field making this happen, there's a lot to be said for that.
Yes.
That's why we always ask somebody, how long have you been actually doing this yourself?
Yeah.
And you've got close to 20 years with your own company, much less your whole life of experience doing all these things. And so how do you manage this kind of work? I'm going to put up on the wall for everybody just to show, just take a look here at some of the work Josh has done with this company. And we're going to get into that a little bit more when we go through the website a little bit, because there is a ton of information out there to be shared on the website. I wanted to jump over here and show, I think it's under More Gallery. And wow, you've got some great work you've done here, and a lot of houses that you've worked on, and some incredible work to show for all of your years of what you do. And there's some of these images showing up. Well, we like to show that kind of integrity, hard work, skill, craftsmanship, because when it comes down to it, man, there's just so much at stake when somebody's getting their house repaired after a storm or hail or a tornado or just, how often do you find somebody that just doesn't even know they have damage and they're starting to get leaks, mold? What do you do? How do you help people with that?
That's what happens. They call into our office and they got a leak, and unbeknownst that they have storm damage from 2 to 3 years ago. See, it takes anywhere from 5 to 10 years for a hail damage to actually do any physical damage or visual damage that you can tell as a result of it. The hail damages the shingles, and then sometimes if the hail's big enough, you'll get that visual damage right away. But a lot of times it takes 3 to 5, 10 years for the damage to show up, and people don't remember. Did I have a storm 2 years ago, 3 years ago? They don't remember. So when we go out there, we point all these things out to them, and then we guide them through the process of getting things done. You can either pay $10,000 to $15,000 for your roof out of pocket, or you can have your insurance do it, which you pay your yearly premiums on to cover.
Right, and that's where it gets confusing for people to figure out what's covered, how does it get covered, what should they be paying, how much they got to pay out of pocket. There's so much that goes into this, and most people don't even get into, and then they don't realize, wow, now you're $30,000, $50,000, $100,000. What's the average?
Easy to do that too. Easy, real easy. Our average job ticket's around $20,000. We do anywhere from $450 small job repair all the way up to $400,000 fire restoration.
Okay.
So.
And with all the experience you've got, this is something I'm putting up on the wall more of the work you've done. Here's a before and after picture for everybody to take a look at. We like to also show off a little bit of the reviews that people have. And I'm going to go through a couple images. This is good information. Here's this quick video. I'm just going to give everybody a quick tease here and watch this. But you've got a great spokesperson here. She's doing her work to highlight the show here. There we go. Let me get that. There we go. So I got it. And so here is a gal talking about the background experience you've got and a little bit about your company. We all know that video really helps people to understand what you're getting into when you have a company you're trying to do some research with. And but now YouTube is taking off, a lot of Facebook stuff. I've shown Josh and I were going over some of the data from my own company, because I do give some advice about how to get yourself found and get out there with regard to what's going on. And I'm up to 348,000 people a month. How do you do that? Well, video is a great way to do that. Yeah. So great job here putting up a good looking video and sharing with people a little bit about that, because they will make sure that when people see the video kind of content, that really helps people understand. People are visual creatures and they need to see those kinds of things. So with that, where we got that, I'm gonna slide through here on a couple more pictures that we've got. There's your logo, there's a picture of yourself. Now this one was interesting, and I'll put this on the wall for everybody to see again. PMA. We talk about this during the show. What's that stand for? Tell everybody what that stands for.
Positive mental attitude.
Positive mental attitude. Why is that so important?
Because it's a secret to my success.
All right, tell me why that's helped you think so much.
Having PMA, you can be a problem solver versus somebody's putting out fires all the time. I try to be the advocate. I want to look for a solution versus trying to find a problem. A negative type situation or negative type people. I don't want to label anybody's, but I'm always constantly looking for the how can we versus how we cannot.
That's the key to life, I think. I mean, it's a matter of if you're going to be out there functioning our little planet, you better have the right attitude. 'Cause what your mind is processing will turn into what results you get from that too. And that's not, you don't want to have anything less than that. A couple of reviews we were talking about here, everybody here, got these turned into some graphics that look great. So Jay Exteriors, he was helpful and friendly throughout the whole conversation. That's from one of your patrons, Kayla P. Tell me, do you remember Kayla and how she helped you or how you worked with her?
Yes, Kayla had a house down in Festus, and it was a pretty steep roof, if I remember correctly. 3-tab shingles. Adjuster was trying to say, well, we don't owe for wear and tear, meaning how old the shingles were. Well, she had recent storm damage, so that's what was covered. It wasn't covered not because it was old, it was new hail damage. So we got our roof approved.
That's important because getting the going through the approval process, helping the insurance company understand where the damage came from and what caused that. That's important. You've got another great review here. I'm going to put up for everybody to see. The crew that did the job were very professional and clean. And it comes from Paul A. Tell me why that one was important for you.
Cleanliness is the key. Is also a clean working area is a happy working area. Not only do the homeowners pay attention to how clean you are, the neighbors do. If you have a clean job site throughout the whole process, nothing blowing around in the wind, blowing in somebody else's yard, it shows a sign of respect for the neighborhood, that you care about everybody else's house, not only just the one you're working on.
Important, yeah, because however you represent yourself, that's why we keep a clean studio here, everybody. Because if a studio doesn't look well, what kind of show are you putting on here, right? You got to make everything look the part, and so cleanliness is next to godliness. Yes. I think is the phrase.
I'll show up and do quality controls, and if the site's not to my standards, I'll roll up my sleeves and I'll start helping the crews clean up. Just because I got high standards on things like that. I'm a little nitpicky, I guess you call it.
Well, that's good. So nothing wrong with having a high standard for cleanliness. We all appreciate that, of course. All right, tell me, what is it, one thing that you would say, if there's anything or a number of things that sets your business apart? What do you think it is that really sets your business apart to stand above the rest?
I think the fact that we use software, we use satellite imagery, we use programs that can help us design the roof and or siding, windows and doors. We use a CRM program to keep track of all of our jobs. We have anywhere from 1 to 80 jobs going on at one time. It'd be next to impossible to manage all that by paper or do it the old school way, unless I had a full office staff that was constantly updating paperwork, shuffling things around. It would just be so confusing. With the use of the CRM program and satellite imagery, it just click, 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 send, do this, whatever.
Let's talk about that a little bit. As we put up here on the wall behind us, I'll do this wide shot we've got over here, but I'm going to jump over to, and so I guess this is where we get into this first. You use a program called Hover.
Yes.
Tell me what you're looking at here, because you've got a design. This is a client, you're working on this right now, but how did you help them with what you've got here with regard to Hover and the software that you're using?
You can imagine if I can go out here and hand measure this house, do all the siding, do all the fascia, soffit, the gutters, the roof, I'd be there for 2 hours measuring everything out to do it accurately. Using this program here, all I do is take a panoramic picture of the entire house, usually within 3 to 4 hours, sometimes faster than that. They'll send back a 3D rendition of the house. It's pretty lifelike. We can choose all the colors, profiles, design the whole house even before we sign up insurance paperwork. What's great about it is homeowners usually bought the house. They like the colors when they moved in, but 5-10 years later, they don't like the colors anymore. That's one of the first questions I get asked. Can we choose different colors?
Right.
Well, yes, you can. Let me do a Hover for you. And sit down at the kitchen table. I've done the program for long enough. I take in the questions that they have. I go click, change everything around, and then slide the tablet or the laptop around and let them see what's going on. And it's a great feature. Great selling feature as well.
So this allows them to really design what they want. You see, we adjusted some of the colors on the house that you saw there, everybody. And so you can see, I'm going to go ahead and put on, since we've got our wide shot over here. Here's the original house. on the left, and then here's the colors we're talking about changing that to, and that's a matter of just ordering a different color, all going to be fit the same.
Yeah.
And but you can, it gives them an opportunity to select that and see what it looks like when they're
Right.
putting it together.
And it helps out with, I'm not the hard, pushy sales type. I'm not going to sit at your kitchen table and wait for you to sign something. But if the insurance carrier only approves, say, $30,000 or $50,000 worth of damage, say the roof and half of the siding only got approved. Well, now we can use this program here to determine what your upgrade costs are going to be, work within your budgets. I find a lot of times the homeowners are already wanting to do a lot of these upgrades. So if we can find out what your budget is, we got $50,000 from the insurance carrier, you've got 20 or 30. We can turn this over to a bid contracting versus insurance, and then we can do a full exterior wrap, help with improving energy efficiency of the home by adding different types of siding, different windows. So it's a win-win for the homeowners.
Wow, that's a lot that you offer there to really help people feel good and feel comfortable. I mean, the biggest, most valuable asset just about everybody owns is their home, and it's really nice to have something, this kind of features. I've talked to a number of construction guys, exterior guys, and they all have their caveats. I guess some of them may not have just gotten into this with me, but this is really cool. It really allows you to help customize and give somebody a preview of what they want to look like and feel it out so that they can really feel comfortable with what they're about to put together.
You know, this program is not very expensive either. I can do a basic version of it for like $75. I can do a full 3D roof, siding, gutters, everything for I think $100. What used to be before COVID hit was around $55. So prices went up.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a great feature. Spend $100 to make 100,000. Let's do the math.
Yeah, sure. Well, it gives you quite a leg up on your competitors, so you can really help your consumers make an informed decision. Very cool stuff. Well, that's why we put the hat on, everybody, when you're helping the community. And I like to I put the hat on off while you were on camera, in particular because you said you don't like that pushy style. And I agree with it. So many people are like, I got to do this. You got to make a decision today. No, hey man, we're here to help.
If you
make this
if you
decision
don't want to
right.
hire me based on my experience and knowledge on what I'm advocating for you, then we don't need to work together. Then the interview is, I get to interview you as well as you're interviewing me.
Right.
It used to be, let's get 3 bids. I tell the homeowners, let's interview each other and see if we're going to be a good fit to work together first.
Right. Very important. Okay, with that, let's talk about, I've got up on the wall here also your AccuLynx software. You talked about this too. Tell me a little bit about AccuLynx and how it helps you do what you do.
AccuLynx is another great company. It's a CRM, Customer Relation Management Program. This company, I want to say they started around 2009. I started with them late 2011. Great company. I got to grow with them throughout the years. It does everything for me. That keeps track of all my jobs, my measurements, my estimates, my invoicing, my work orders, and it has a great job flow. So when the lead comes in, it goes automatically goes into the system, and then we track that lead and we nurture it through AccuLynx. So once it becomes a prospect, that's when I'm building the estimates and sometimes the orders. We collect down payment, then it becomes an approved job. So from the estimate that I've created in the system, now I can take that same information, flow it through to the work orders, from the work orders to the material orders, hand them out to the crews, get them all done, use the same information to create the invoices, send it off to the insurance carriers, to the homeowners. It's synced with QuickBooks, so it's a seamless flow from start to beginning, which would take me 8 to 10 hours to do all that type of paperwork years past. From start to finish, maybe an hour.
Wow. Yeah. So yeah, you've really systematized the way you help your clients because you've got a couple systems here that integrate and work together well to help them show them what they're going to get and then make sure the orders are properly filled. Right. I can only imagine if you miss a couple shingles or you miss a couple slides of vinyl. Yeah. I mean, now you've got a whole different calculation going on. You got to piece these things back together. Yeah. Not that I've seen that happen, everybody, in my own house and some of the stuff I've dealt with. But, I mean, literally, you're on the ball here for the big picture, for the long term for these guys to help make sure they get everything.
Sometimes we have go-backs, warranty issues. We've had homeowners call us back 8, 9 years, 10 years later, and we're able to, hey, who are you, blah, 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 type their name in, their address, their phone number into AccuLynx. All their information comes up from 10 years ago. It's right there at our fingertips. Oh yeah, we'll see you had Owens Corning duration shingles with white gutters, blah, blah, blah. Homeowners don't even remember none of that stuff. We have it right there at our fingertips.
Wow, yeah. So now you're even helping them to document what's been going
Yes.
on, and so that they can easily recall and say, hey, prove it. Because a lot of times you're trying to prove that to the insurance company
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
and say, hey, here's what's been done, here's what hasn't been done, here's what needs to be done,
Yeah.
and you can prove that to them.
And another great thing is a lot of homeowners sell their homes within 5 to 10 years. We even have real estate agents, title companies contacting us and wanting to know, was a lien waiver provided? Yes or no? And if not, can you provide one? Even years later, we can still pull up all that information and then provide a lien waiver so the title companies know they can give this house a clean bill of health.
Well, everybody, we've covered quite a bit here. We're almost done with the first show. Our guests these days, we're doing 2 half-hour interviews. It's just there's so much. If you're really going to dig in and give somebody the full depth of how to make a good decision with regard to getting your home remodeled or repaired or upgraded, you need more than 3 minutes to do that. Yeah. And so we got another great half hour of information here to cover with Josh, who's our expert in the building today. With that, there's so much that goes into this. I'm just kind of blown away again. I want to review with everybody quickly again. Give them the overall. If you say here's the process, a little bit of what when you start to work with somebody, and because you've got Hover, AccuLinks,
Yes.
When somebody sits down, what happens with them?
In today's world, this is my opinion. Not only are you a contractor, you have to learn how to read a tape measure, swing a hammer, do the actual repairs, do the work. In today's business, you have to be an expert in marketing, softwares, different methods of running your business. If you don't do these things, you're left behind. Then you're left with the guy getting out of his truck, and he's got the old clipboard and all the paper trails following him out as he's getting out of the truck because he's got all these sticky notes and trying to remember everything. I'm oftentimes thinking about that all the time. But then you get with today, like me, you're using all new software, manage everything, nothing gets lost. You still kind of forget things here and there. You know, trying to imagine running 60 different projects at one time.
Right.
You're still going to lose something. The CRM is only as good as the user is.
Right.
However, I do have a backup. Heather, my stepdaughter, she runs my office. So anything that I possibly miss, she's going to be there to pick up. So nothing goes in between the wayside. So the call comes into the office, comes in as a lead. Either it's a direct referral or through Google Local Services or any other methods of them trying to reach us. We try to set up our marketing and advertising as they've hired us already, they just don't know it yet.
Right.
So then what that does is we try to go after the need now type of customer versus the nurturer, where we're going to hold your hand for 6 months until you make a decision. We like those types of customers, but we want to put those on our long-term, nurture them through. So we try to go after the immediate now. We follow that through with the CRM program. It goes through a series of steps. And what this does is lets us know the importance of each job. We can even label the jobs urgent, kind of back burner, or they're not ready. They want to hire, but they're just waiting on to choose their colors. So
there you have it, everybody. We're going to be back with more information. Stay tuned. You're watching the Your Little Castle Show. Giddy up.